would show up to these networking events and they'd go, oh, how's your little business? That's so cute that you're doing a little market. And I was like, I think I'm making more money than you. I'm sorry.
Businesses that prioritize cultivating community around their brands are really going to thrive.
You don't even have to sell. It's like, I want to be a part of what you're doing because I feel connected and I resonate with you. That's where the magic happens. When we can be honest and open and go, God, that was hard. That's when we have the relatability. That's when people are like, yes, okay, thank God I'm not the only one that this is hard for.
It creates a deeper connection than our perfection ever could. I don't know if it was turning 40 or what, but
at 40, you're like, all right, let's go. Like balls to the wall, it's time, right? Everything starts sagging. No, I'm just kidding.
The ways we intentionally build community in our brands, what are some of the things that have been most effective?
One of the things that comes to mind
If you are ready to stop waiting for permission to build your dream business and your dream life, then today's conversation is going to feel like a warm hug, but also kind of like a kick in the ass that we all need from time to time. And I'm sitting down with my fellow community builder and friend, Coley Arnold. She is the founder of the Foundress. She's a serial entrepreneur, a community builder just like me, and a passionate advocate for women in business. We are getting real, as we do when we connect just one-on-one, about just some of the challenges, the personal struggles, the things we've had to overcome, and ultimately why we believe so wholeheartedly in community. But it all comes back to one word and one through line throughout this entire conversation, which is this: stop waiting for someone else to give you the permission that you hold within yourself. If you need a little dose of encouragement, if you need a reminder of who you really are, community at its core is really meant to be that reminder on the days that you need it most. So this conversation is so good, and it's always fun when I get to sit down with my actual real life friends. So you're going to enjoy this one. Coley, welcome to Powerhouse Women.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
Usually we're sitting like in our sweats, in our athleisure, over coffee, just really talking about the reality of business and life and building community. So this feels very formal.
I did put a bra on for you today.
Thank you.
I feel very special. It's like going to be a good day when your bra goes on and your heels come on.
And then immediately, how fast afterward does it come off?
Oh, so like I have different shoes already in my seat in the car.
And the bra's going to be like hanging out the window probably.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the first thing you said, you're like, do I have to be serious now? I was like, absolutely not. We need to show people who we really are.
Like, do I need to pretend that I'm a professional woman?
What I love about you is the fact that you just bring your authentic personality to everything that you do. You are a fellow community builder. You have a beautiful community based here in Phoenix called the Foundress, but you're a serial entrepreneur at heart. And, entrepreneurship, I think, is really difficult if you don't have a little bit of a sense of humor.
Oh, and a little bit like less sanity than everyone else.
Yeah,
right?
A good dose of, and then like a sprinkle of sarcasm.
Crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy.
Yeah. So, not only that, you're crazy enough to also be, I think you have like 40 kids about?
I have 40. It feels like 40.
Well, minus the 0.
Yes. I have 4 boys.
Yeah.
Ranges from 17 to 6. And the amount of meat, I actually just posted on my social media yesterday, like I need a meat sponsor, and not in a sexual way. Like I just need someone to give me some cow, because the amount of money we spend on actual meat is insane.
I actually might have someone for you. Great. We might have a meat sponsor.
A meat sponsor. You. Oh my gosh, let's do.
Not
this.
Even lying.
Great.
Okay, great. So remind me of that later.
This is why community is important.
This is
right.
And what's
you get what
so
you need.
Beautiful is when I think about our two communities, we were both looking to solve a similar problem at a similar time in, people look at Phoenix now, they're like, you have such an amazing female entrepreneur community. But flashback to 2017, 2018, I remember going to Chamber of Commerce meetings, going to local networking groups that were boring and awful.
So boring.
And
you had to wear pants and like suits
and bras every single time.
Every day. So annoying.
And I was looking for a community for ambitious women where we could be honest about the challenges, but also feel like our ambitions were celebrated.
Yes.
And I think what's so beautiful about seeing that, you know, our visions really started as this seed of wanting to solve the same problem because it didn't exist. And it just shows there was such a need for this solution. And I say this all the time to the women who will look at what we have in Phoenix and say, gosh, I wish I had that. It didn't exist just a few years ago. So take me back to like the early days of your journey as an entrepreneur, because I know the Foundress isn't your first business, but we both have this unique lens of being able to see in this inside view, front row view to so many different entrepreneur stories. And I think it's easy for people to forget that we both also had our day one as an entrepreneur. So when you think back on that season, what time in your life does it take you to?
Well, so we started Foundress in 2018. And our first, I think 7 years into entrepreneurship journey before that. So we had started Junk in the Trunk Vintage Market, and my business partner and I, neither of us had graduated college. We had taken 0 business classes, and it was this naivety that was kind of beautiful because you just didn't know what you didn't know. And so we had this idea that we just honestly wanted to kind of get out of the house. We had little kids and we needed to spark that creative side of our brain. And so we were like, let's just pop up in our friend's backyard. My friend had horse property in Scottsdale. She's like, yeah, you can use our yard. We contacted friends from Etsy, and Etsy had just started, and Craigslist. We were selling on Craigslist. I was painting furniture. My business partner at the time was painting like barnwood signs, like pre-Magnolia, pre-Joanna Gaines. And we just wanted to have like a little like boutique pop-up. So we got like 20 vendors, and my brother was doing security. We were checking out. We were doing like a central checkout. There was 600 people that came that day.
Oh my goodness.
And our husbands were like, I think you just started a business. And we were like, oh, hell no. That's not what we wanted to do. Like, this was supposed to be a side fun thing. And I was like dancing for people in the line because they were like waiting like an hour and a half to pay for their items. And we ended up making a ton of money in like 5 hours. And we laughed. Our husbands were like, no, this is a business. Like, this is legit. Like the next day, I think my business partner's husband had like trademarked us. Like, we were like, we're going for it. But we built this business not having any idea what we were doing. And so we kept saying, I wish that there was a group of women that had like gone before us that could tell us like what paperwork we needed to fill out, where to show up and network with people. And we would show up to these networking events, kind of like Chambers Commerce and other places like that. And it was almost like, I love men. I'm married. I have 4 boys. I love men. And yet we would show up into these rooms with men and they'd go, oh, how's your little business? That's so cute that you're doing a little market. And I was like, I think I'm making more money than you. I'm sorry.
If I'm not
Excuse
mistaken.
me. Right. If I'm not mistaken. And so it just felt like we weren't invited to this table. And so there was just this burning kind of desire to have something where we were invited. And that invite never came. And so we just decided to create it.
So when you decided to launch that first business and really by faith figure it out along the way, what were some of like the early struggles that now the view that you have where you see if you had a community, if you had mentorship, you would have been able to get through a lot faster? Like, what were some of the early pivotal like mistakes or failures or lessons that when you look back now, you're grateful for them, but also you see that they could have been totally avoided or almost like sped up?
You know what's so interesting is I think that I honestly had no idea until I surrounded. It was like I didn't know what I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so I don't even like we made mistakes. We spent a ton of money we didn't need to spend. But then if I were to know now what I like back then, I think our business could have been just so different. And I try not to look back and go, oh gosh, what if like it's beautiful and what we created was beautiful and fun and I loved it. And I think we could have created something even bigger if we knew. And so I almost didn't know enough to know that something was wrong.
Yeah.
There was 3 of us. It was my business partner and her husband had a lot more knowledge around business. And so he kind of was the business person and we were the creatives. And I didn't even think to like ask questions. I didn't know that there was more to this. And so I kind of just did my creative side of it. And I felt like there was more, but I didn't know what to ask. And so putting women in rooms where they could ask questions and even are guided to what to ask is, I feel like, so imperative to our success, because I think there's so many of us that have a passion. We have a problem to solve, and yet we don't even know what to ask to get to that next step.
And that's part of it, right? Is for so many of us, and there's so many women in both of our communities who accidentally start businesses. Even if I look at what I'm doing, I didn't come in with a business plan.
Right.
But part of that is I didn't know what I didn't know, as you said so beautifully. And so I didn't know I could dream as big as now I can.
Yeah.
So talk about that element of it, is the power of community to also give us kind of like a North Star to even think bigger for ourselves. Because I don't know about you, I didn't grow up with knowing any entrepreneurs at all.
I didn't either. No, both of my parents, my mom had multiple jobs, like side jobs, and she was a real estate agent. My dad worked at the same company for 40 years. My mom had tried to start little businesses, but it wasn't necessarily encouraged. It wasn't supported in terms of with her community, friends, family. And so I think she had that spark in her, which would have been cool. I think if she had that community, like I think of what she could have done. But yeah, I just think there's this lack of knowledge out there. And so the power of having like this group of women, when I walk into the Foundress now, and again, same thing, I didn't start this on purpose either. It was supposed to be like the side thing that would support us in our other business. Yeah. And to the point where we actually sold our other business because I loved Foundress so much. And that's where I realized my heart and passion was. But when you're in this group and you have other women dreaming for you and you're like, oh my gosh, have you thought of this? Or could you do this with your business? It gets you out of reality. And you almost have to be unreasonable. I've heard you talk about this so many times, that you have to be unreasonable to grow your business. Yeah. Because it takes you so many places that you never thought you would go in a beautiful way, right?
Yeah. And it kind of brings me to, I know something you talk a lot about is the permission piece. Stop waiting for someone else to give you permission. It has to come from within. And in the same way of like being a little bit unreasonable with your goals or allowing yourself to be a little bit delusional.
Right.
Will you speak to that and what your journey with that permission piece has looked like? Was there a time where you realized you were waiting for someone to give you permission?
Yeah, I think throughout building all my other businesses. So we did Junk in the Trunk. And then it was interesting because we opened something called The Vintage, which was a 7,500 square foot building. We spent multi-millions of dollars building this out. And the reason why we did it was because everyone told us we should, because we had Junk in the Trunk. Oh, I wish you would have this other place where we can come shop in between the markets. Or I wish we had a place where we could gather. And it almost became like our dream turned into someone else's dream, because everyone kept telling us we should be doing something. And then COVID hit and we were pivoting and we were surviving and we were being scrappy. And, after you open a $3 million building and the world crashes 6 weeks later, you're like, shit. And you start thinking about what you really want. And in that moment, I think we were exhausted. We had pivoted so much. We had done so much to survive. And then there was a moment we kind of looked at each other like, do we even like this? And it was almost this permission to like not do something that from the outside was successful and from the outside looked really good. And it almost was this moment where I was going, I don't think I like this beautiful life that I built myself. And from the outside, everyone else was telling me like, this is so cool that you're doing this and how fun that you own a building and all these things. And it sounded great on the outside, and inside it was so misaligned. And so that permission to just like say no and walk away from something that probably could have made a lot of money and probably could have been really, really successful. But the alignment was, my passion was with Foundress. And so that was the first kind of permission moment. And then when we were starting Foundress, I sat down with 3 women for coffee, and all of them explained kind of what they were going through and their ideas and their excitement. And I listened and I didn't say anything. And at the end, I just said, I think you should go for it. And it had unlocked at the end. They were like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for your support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I was like, I didn't do anything except for give you permission that you already felt like you had. They were just like, it's almost like you can see them going all the way to the edge and then not stepping off the ledge because they need someone to say, yes, this is a great idea. Yes, do it. And I think that's the power of community. is sometimes we need someone else's belief to take that leap.
Yeah.
We need someone else to believe in what we're doing and encourage us. Even though we don't need their permission, it's almost like I need someone else to say out loud that this is a good idea. And it's not just that I'm crazy, right?
It's almost like we need someone to just mirror back what we are already saying. We already do know that it's within us. But there have been those times where I kind of needed that little nudge.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for, and now I have women like you in my life where it happens so much faster because I now have the support system of people who I can bounce ideas off of, or I can just say, hey, today I need a little bit of an encouraging word. I need to just vent. I need to just get this off my chest so I can see clearly what's next for me.
Right. Well, how many days do entrepreneurs just want to quit, right? My husband jokes, he's like, every other day you want to go work at Starbucks.
I have so many fantasies of being employed.
Oh, totally.
Until I realize I'm
the worst employee.
I know.
My husband's like, you would get fired in like 2 hours. I'm like, I know. You'd boss everyone around. I was like, I get it. But also, I just want someone to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Right. But that is the beauty of community is like when we're down, we get to borrow that belief of the people around us to encourage us. And also when we're in our high to someone go, yes, you're not crazy. This is a great idea. Go do it. Right.
Yeah. So what have been some of the internal blocks that you have had to work through in your journey to getting to business?
How much time do we have?
I mean, technically about 40 minutes. So we'll get through maybe like the first one or two.
Okay. I'll try to narrow it down here for you. I know I think every day something comes up, but it's honestly the deep work within myself that has been the biggest catapult in my success. When I stopped caring what other people think, when I stopped hiding behind my brand, and when I really stepped into my own power, that's when I saw the magic happen. And that's honestly been recently. Like this has been a new, I've been working on it for a long time, but I feel like that just shed of the old things, the lies, the limiting beliefs that no longer serve me, when I'm stepping out of that and into my own power that I know is there and that I've been hiding for so many years. And not intentionally. Like if you would have asked me 3 years ago, I'd been like, absolutely not. I'm building this amazing brand and I am, doing all the things I love. And I would have told you that I was aligned and doing everything right until I wasn't. Yeah. And I think there's these moments that kind of are gut checks and you go, am I living my life or am I living someone else's life? Right. Or am I living a life that someone else said I should be living? Or am I just hiding? And I think my biggest limiting block was that I was afraid to step out on my own because of judgment. And I hate even saying that out loud because it's so stupid and it's everything I teach not to do, right?
Yeah.
But how many times are we stuck in our own fear of what are people going to think of me if I go all out on my own, building my personal brand or just going all out in my offers, in my business, and I get rejected or nothing, worse, nothing happens, right? Or you're like, can someone at least say something? Right? Crickets, it's the worst.
At least some feedback.
Correct. Give me some. If you hate it, that's okay. Just tell me. But I think that's just so much more vulnerable when you're laying it all on the line and you're stepping into that power and then also almost like standing there naked and you're like, all right, here we go. Hold your breath, right?
Yep. I know it's funny. It's such a twisted mentality and I think I'm not the only one that has experienced this, that I'm more comfortable with being able to say, well, I'm not really giving it my all.
Totally.
Because if I gave it my all and then it failed, or I gave it my all and then I find out I'm not really that special, that seems like it would be a bigger death to my ego or to whatever part of me is like so controlled by needing people to see me a certain way. And, to realize that we both built incredible businesses even while carrying and still healing a lot of that. But I don't know if it was turning 40 or what, but there really is kind of like this gradual release of that expectation. What for you, like when you say, because I kind of like get curious about this, what other people's journey has been when you say like, I just like stopped caring what other people think. not always just a decision we can make in the moment to actually not care.
Oh no, this was years and years of work.
and what have been some of the things that have helped you? Because I know for a lot of people listening, realizing that is a big piece of what is holding them back or has them feeling like they don't have the permission to really go all in. What have been some of the things that have helped you lessen your need for people to really validate or give you permission in order for you to move forward?
I wish I could tell you there was a magic button because damn, that would be so much easier.
We would be billionaires.
We would be billionaires if we could figure that out.
Yes.
Honestly, I think turning 40 had a big part in it. I think you get to this point where you're no longer counting up, you're counting down. It's like, I think in your 20s, 30s, you're like, I have so much time and I have so many big dreams and so many things to look forward to. You hit 40 and you're like, oh shit, I have only this many years left. What do I want my life to look like? So I think a little bit of that is, it's like you've heard the term where old people kind of lose their filters. It's like at 40, you're like, all right, fuck it, let's go. Like balls to the wall, it's time, right?
We get it now.
Yes, we get it. Everything starts sagging. No, I'm just kidding. But I also think that therapy has helped a ton, like really diving into actually having feelings. High ambitious women sometimes are afraid of feeling things.
I found out I have feelings too.
It's really magical. It's the biggest aha for me was my therapist was like, to feel feelings, you don't have to lay in bed and cry all day. I was like, what? I thought that's what it meant to be like an emotional person. She's like, no, a feeling takes 90 seconds. Yeah. And I was like, 90 seconds? I can do that. Sweet, let's go. And I think just learning the like how to feel and how to allow, I'm our oldest child, oldest daughter syndrome. Like I get shit done, right? I'm always type A. And so I think it was this realization that like, if I don't start feeling these things now, I'm going to be a miserable human when I get older because I'm just bottling it all up and pretending that everything's okay. So almost to have that success, you almost need to like tear down everything you've kind of built around you to protect yourself and be more vulnerable. So therapy has been huge. And then a business coach. And I hired a business coach, Coach Christy. She's amazing. And she was a vice president at Banner Innovation. And she also worked high up at Target. And just the principles that she's learned to run a team and run yourself. Like, right? I think the hardest part of managing a business is managing yourself and your own values and expectations. And as high achieving women, we can do a lot. But my biggest aha, I think the last couple of years has been like, just because I can doesn't mean I should. And I think some of the businesses we started was a very good example of that. It's like, yes, we are very capable of producing a very high impact, business here, but should we? Does it light our soul on fire? Is it aligned with our goals and our mission? And so really taking everything kind of almost down to the simplest form of like, what do you want your life to look like? And what is that next step you need to take? And is this aligned with your dreams, right? Yeah.
Gosh, I can relate to that so much. Fellow oldest daughter, fellow type A.
I mean, we
even
can get
a Capricorn.
What's so much shit done. I'm a Virgo.
Born? Okay, but that's it's the same. Yeah,
Leo
like
energy
standards.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just
I don't know
these
enough
very
about it,
high standards, and which makes us successful.
Correct.
And I'm wondering for you what this has looked like, because that transition from knowing I could do it all and realizing how much validation I got from doing all of the things, to scaling back and going through kind of like this dark, and I just mean like quiet phase of not allowing myself to turn to the same places that I would normally get that dopamine hit and that high from, was kind of a messy process. Mine was like a forced slowdown with everything that happened last year. But what was that process like for you? Did you go kicking and screaming like I did, or did you find your way into a more aligned way of operating? Because I think a lot of the women in both of our communities can relate to us. That's why they're attracted to what we've created. I'm wondering if we can kind of help someone who's listening, who's getting that nudge to maybe take some things off of her plate, maybe listen to that nudge inside that's saying, I'm going to give myself permission to say no. How can we help her to navigate letting go? Because the letting go and the free fall of realizing that you're not going to get to experience that same connection to the places you got validation, but it's going to be worth it in the end. I'm basically asking you to sum up like a decade of therapy just in like a soundbite. for Instagram?
Sure.
Yeah.
Let me get right on that.
What has been your experience with that? Because I think I actually feel this collective shift.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're, as a society, waking up to the fact that like the hustle and grind mentality works, but there's actually a better way to do it.
Right. I think, I think there's so much advice out there. It's like, do less and produce more.
Yeah.
And you're like, this makes no sense.
Yeah.
And I was joking with a friend the other day and I was like, it almost feels like, remember in Cars? Did you ever watch Cars?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when he's racing in the dirt and I think it's Doc and he goes, turn right to go left. And he's like, this makes no sense. You're an idiot. Like you don't know anything. And then he skids off the track. And it's so true. That's how life is. It's like when we really want to scale our business, we have to learn how to do less and pull back. And it can't always be this hustle grind that we're used to. And I think there's a lot of that for me, at least. And I think a lot of you guys can relate to this, is that hustle and grind does distract us from feeling the things that we don't want to feel.
Mm-hmm.
And
very effective.
It's not fun. Like, and I will say like the last 2 years of doing this work has not been my favorite. It's hard. And you're having conversations with yourself, with those that you love. And it's hard. And there's been so much change that have gone on with me internally that affects everyone around me. Right. And so having those hard conversations with, it starts with yourself and then everyone around you. But I think slowing down and really realizing like, what do I want my legacy to be? What do I want to be known for? What do I want my kids to remember? Like, I don't want my kids to remember I'm always gone and I'm always working. I think there's so much importance having them see me chase my dreams.
Yeah.
But I also want to be present. And so I'm entering a season where my oldest is going to be a senior this year. And I told my business coach, I said, I'm not adding anything new to my business next year, which if you've been with me in the last year, you've known I've thrown all the spaghetti on the walls. Like we're just going to try all these new things. We're going to see what sticks.
Spaghetti wallpaper right
Correct. Now. It is all over the walls. And it was fun and I thrive on that. Like I love being like, I'm going to wake up today and I'm going to start a new leg of my business. This is going to be really exciting.
Yeah.
And I thrived on that so much because I think it was a distraction. And I was good at it. I was a hustler. I could get it done and it could be successful. And oftentimes was, but it wasn't what I wanted and it wasn't aligned. And so she's been reminding me over and over and over again. I'm like, oh, I have this idea. And she's like, okay, let's go back to what you want this year to look like. I'm like, damn it. But it's so good and such a good reminder, like doing less and being present for my family is number one for me. And so that looks different. So I've had to make choices this summer to like, I'm working a lot this summer so that start August 15th, I am kind of on coast mode and I've set up systems, I've set up things in my business so I can do less. And I just feel this shift in my business that the more I'm pulling back, the more momentum I'm getting. And it makes no sense logically, but I'm seeing it happen. Like I'm seeing, I agree with you. I see this shift, I think culturally as well. Like our society is done. Our generation's like, I'm done. I don't want to work until I'm 90 and then have no retirement and no time to enjoy the money that I've made. Like we're going to enjoy it now. So how do you do that?
Yeah. I'm like, I know how anybody have the magic
Does anyone
answer?
Have the answer? So
Call
yeah,
us.
just hard work and also saying no.
Yes.
Which is really hard for us.
Yeah. Yeah. So kind of bringing this to the topic of community, because you are cultivating the most beautiful community with the Foundress. What are some of the things that have helped you to cultivate that community over the last several years? Because the other thing that I'm like, this is the hill I will die on. I think the businesses that prioritize community, ours are built on it, but businesses that prioritize cultivating community around their brands are really going to thrive, especially as AI becomes a bigger part of our lives. It's not going anywhere. As the robots take over the world,
correct,
human connection, real human connection is going to be even more valuable. So what are some of the things that as a community-based business, you look back and you realize this has really helped us to thrive?
I think you're right. I think as our world gets more and more advanced in technology, like I joke around, I call ChatGPT my best friend. We have therapy sessions together. They help me write all my stuff. Like I love ChatGPT, right? And I also crave these conversations like this. Like I can't have a conversation like this with ChatGPT when we're doubting ourselves or we're feeling like we're stuck. Like the only thing that can get me out of that is this face-to-face conversation. And so we so desperately need that connection. And I think that's what keeps people coming back and keeps people all honestly going in their business, because how many times do we want to quit? And if we were stuck at home and didn't have any community, it's so easy to go, all right, I'm done. Like we feel it every day as business owners through the good and the bad, right? Sometimes when it gets too good, we're like, holy shit, put the brakes on. This is a lot.
Yeah. And you need people to be like, no, you deserve this. Keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. Celebrate. And so I think that human connection is so important. We are launching a new membership this year, and I'm so excited about it because we're bringing back that kind of cohort small group feeling.
Yeah.
And I think that is the key to just having women that you can look in the eyes and go, this is what I'm thinking. Am I an idiot? Is this going to work? Or this is what's happening in my life. What are my blind spots? Because there's so many times I know like I've survived this last year because I've had a group of women that I can have these conversations with, and they called me out. And there were times where it was really uncomfortable. And I shared stuff that I didn't want to share with people. But because of that and out of that has come so much growth personally and in my business that I'm seeing thrive because of those hard conversations.
Yeah.
And I think that face-to-face conversation, when you're able to share the things that are ugly, right? There's ugly parts of us in our business that we don't want anyone to know. And I think there was a lot of times where I would hold those things back because I felt like as a leader, and I don't know if you've ever felt this, I'm sure you have, but as a leader of a community, there's a lie that we have to have all the answers, and that we have to be this perfect example of success in order to be a good leader. And I would say that's totally opposite of what is actually the truth, is that when we can be honest and open and go, God, that was fucking hard.
Yeah.
That's when we have the relatability. That's when people are like, yes, okay, thank God I'm not the only one that this is hard for. And so when I started kind of sharing those more vulnerabilities, I found that success. I found the communities. And I think that's what people are craving so much with this technology world. They're craving that, like, they want to feel relatable. They want to feel like I'm on the right track. This is normal. And I'm not the only crazy one out there. Right.
Yeah. Just one of many crazies.
Oh my gosh. So many crazies. In the best way.
In the best way. But, it's so true. And this has been a theme in today's podcast conversations, this topic of vulnerability. And, when I speak about community and how businesses can incorporate community, I'll often speak about the aspirational leadership part of it, that there's usually a human being that kind of represents the journey that you're taking the community on. And people can see the aspirational parts. It's seeing us sitting here actually wearing makeup and a bra and recording this podcast. But
goals.
If we're not, hashtag goals, hashtag killing it. But if people aren't also seeing the contrast that is more relatable to their everyday life, we actually miss the opportunity to make the impact that we really want to make. Now, that's one of the things I've always loved about you, is you are someone who's very real about that. And I think it also can be intimidating. The further along you go and the more you feel like, I've been in business this many years, I should have it together. I think when we give ourselves permission, again, back to that word, in those moments to be vulnerable, it creates a deeper connection than our perfection ever could.
Absolutely. And we feel connected.
Yes. And supported.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think when you try to pretend that everything's okay and you're putting on this front, and I say this because I know how it feels because I've done it, because there is so much pressure to be this person that people can look up to and want to be like when you're running a community. And the moment I kind of broke through that and was like, this is too much. I can't do this. And the moment I started being super real, that's when I felt more connected to those around me as well, not just the other way around. Like we need that community and again, that's why I started Foundress. Like I did it as a very selfish thing. Like I need this community of women around me to support me. And it ended up that I was able to support them as well. And I think that's, when you're able to be vulnerable and open and share a side of you that's not pretty, I think that's when you have that connection. And I tell people that, and I know you've told people that, like if you can build your business with community, whether it's you're in a community or you're running a community, whatever it is, that you're building these loyal friends and women who are going to support you and back you up in the good and the bad, right? The good and the ugly of entrepreneurship. And I think that's so important.
Yeah. So one of the things I love that we've done really starting late last year, I guess, early this year, is just like a commitment to quarterly, or I think we're actually overdue for just getting together, grabbing coffee, whether it's 30 minutes or an hour, and making the time to do that with entrepreneur girlfriends, especially if you have people who are in similar industries. And this is actually an exercise. I'm going to ask you this question. This is an exercise we do within our Expanders retreat, where we just have women go around and like quick share, like, what's one thing that's working in your business right now? Like, share it with the table, share it with each other. So what's one thing for you, for Foundress right now, that's working really well in your business? It could be anything, a marketing tip. It could be something that you're doing for yourself as a leader, but that you see like, yeah, actually right now, this is really working for us in today's economy, in today's world. What's one example that comes to mind? Yeah,
that's a good question. I'm in a season where I've kind of dove into a lot of things myself. So I had previous seasons where I had a lot of help, and I got to the point where I was like, I feel so disconnected from my business because I wasn't doing all the things. And I kind of got rid of a lot of the support and dove into it myself starting at the end of last year. And now I've got to a point where I feel really connected again, and I'm going to start kind of delegating again. But newsletters has been kind of something that I've really been enjoying diving into and having almost like this conversation instead of thinking of it as a sales opportunity. I've been really sharing. It's kind of been a place almost therapeutic, like a journal per se, but I've been sharing with my subscribers, like just kind of the journey I've been on. And I'm a horrible writer. ChatGPT really does write everything for me. But in the past, I was having them write it, and I just felt like it wasn't getting that human touch. And so actually one of my best friends is writing my newsletters now. So she knows me in such a deep level. And so I've been able to share things through voice note or just phone calls with her. I'm like, I'm going through this. She's like, can I share that in the newsletter? I'm like, yes. And so I share with my stories with her, and then she's able to beautifully write them. I know my strengths in writing is not one of them, but I feel like I can share my stories with her, and she can create this beautiful, like authentic, because she knows me so well. And she takes my stories and turns them into this beautiful thing on paper that I feel so connected to, because she really nails it. And it's been so fun having that back and forth where more people are responding to the newsletters and saying, oh my gosh, I totally can relate to this, or this changed my life, or, those little things that you're like, oh, this is worth it. And it makes it feel sometimes like I'm also building my own website, which I would not recommend to anyone. It's awful. But I was so sick of wasting money and time. And so I'm like, I need to learn how to do this. One and done. I'm only doing one. But through this, like, I'm seeing more little joys because I've hated that part so much that it's almost reminding me of the things that I do love. And so these newsletters and having that true connection with the women that are in my community is just such a sweet, I don't know, just like a sweet spot in my day. I love it.
And it kind of comes back to like the fundamentals of what community actually is, which is that connection piece. And I love that. That's even something we can all translate to our social media presence or any touch points that we have with our community. Where can we insert those personal touches, our personal stories, sharing a little bit more vulnerably? Because when you take the time to build connection in that way, then when you do have the sales email or the new offer that you're launching, there's just a deeper level of trust. I mean, that's a lot of what I think we've both built our businesses on, is building that trust in those micro moments, so that when we go to launch something or open an event, tickets for an event or open memberships, there's just already that pre-established trust that takes time to build. And again, the robots can do a lot, but they can't build trust for us.
Correct. Unfortunately, they just cannot. And you've done this beautifully with your community. And I think it's so true. Like, there's certain people I gravitate towards because I just feel connected to them. And then when they put an offer out, I'm like, okay, I'm going to spend all my money on you.
What am I buying?
Just tell me where to be and when. And I think you've done such a beautiful job in your community with that. And you can really tell, like, when you build community correctly, there is such a trust and a bond that they want. It's not, you don't even have to sell. It's like, I want to be a part of what you're doing because I I feel connected and I resonate with you. Like what you're going through, I resonate with that. So showing up to your Powerhouse event is a no-brainer because it's like, yes, I'm going through the same things. We're in the same season. We're building the same, similar things. And it was such an easy yes. And I think that's the power of community. And you taught this when you came and taught at Foundress about sales. It's like, there is a point where I think we get in our heads and we're like, I don't want to sound salesy. I don't want to do this. I'm not good at this part of my business or whatever.
Yeah.
And when you build that community and have that authentic relationship with people, that's where the magic happens. And you're inviting, you use this word, I'm inviting you on this journey with me, right? This is data. I'm not trying to sell you a ticket. I'm inviting you into this space that I know will benefit you. Right. And I think that mindset shift is so important.
It is. And I think the hill I will die on, my Roman Empire, is convincing business owners that investing time in building community, which is the longer game, is so worth it. Because I think we've both found that when you build that trust, when you build that connection, it allows you to pivot. You have full permission to pivot because people are bought into your journey.
Right.
You also have kind of like this built-in sales force because people are connected. They want to be a part of what you're doing. And then they also want their friends to be a part of it. So what have been some of the little things that maybe if we like pause and think about the ways we intentionally build community in our brands that other business owners could take and apply to their businesses? What are some of the things that have been most effective for growing the Foundress?
That's a really good question. I don't know. I don't have a magic button for that either. I wish I did. But one of the things that comes to mind when you say that is really authentic. And I hate this word because it's so overused, but that authenticity is so important. And how to show up. I'm working on my personal brand and I'm going to be launching that soon along with a podcast, which is very exciting.
Very exciting.
But I really kind of sat down and was working through like, what are my values? What do I want to be known for? What's my legacy? What's my impact that I want to make through all of this? Otherwise, none of it matters, right? And the biggest, one of my kind of pillars was just what you see is what you get. And I can't pretend, my husband's like, your face is doing the thing again. Like I can't pretend to be anyone different than me. And I think I fought that for so many years because I felt like I needed to be perfect, or I felt like I needed to be this quote unquote like leader that has it all together. And I remember sitting in Foundress one day and I was super vulnerable and I shared something up in the front, and I sat down afterwards with this woman who has been part of our community for a long time. And I kind of like started tearing up and I was like, woof, that was a lot. And also like, I feel like that was maybe too much. And she just like grabbed my hand and she looked in my eyes and she said, we don't want perfection because none of us are going to get there. And neither are you. We want the real and we want the raw and we want the vulnerable. And she goes, that's why I love you. She's like, I'm looking to you to lead me because I know that you're going to lead me in a really real way. And I'm not going to buy into something that's not real or true.
Yeah.
And it was just a sweet moment where I was like, it almost like I felt things like a release in that moment because it gave me permission, that word again, it gave me permission to just show up as me. And also I think again, when you hit 40, you're like, I don't want the people around me that don't like me.
The real me.
Right? The real me. Yeah. If you like my fake version, I'm done. Like I'm done pretending. My face is going to do my face, like I can't stop it. So I don't want those around me that are going to judge me or, I think when we build community and social media has really skewed us, it's like all about the numbers and how many members do you have? How many followers do you have? How many, whatever. And I'm like, I think there was some striving for that. And then when you start shedding, you're like, I actually only want people around me that are going to love me for who I am and hold me accountable and call me out on certain things. But also like, there are certain things, this is just me, right? Like I'm going to grow and I'm going to evolve. But also if you don't love this version of me, then like go find your people.
Yeah.
And that's okay too. Yeah. I want everyone to find their people.
Yeah.
And I think that's why there's beauty in these communities that are in Phoenix, that each one of us are so different.
Yeah.
And we all have our own people that just are attracted to the real us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of crossover, which is beautiful. And I love that.
Same.
Like I have a lot of Foundress women that are coming to Powerhouse, and I think that's so great. But I think like I want to encourage people to find your own people and go in hard. Like dive in, be real, be honest, because that's where the growth happens. Like if you, when you have people that you can trust and feel safe with, those conversations that we have quarterly. I have my women that I meet with. There's a group of 4 of us. We meet once a month and we're super honest and super real with each other. And that's where I've seen the growth. And I think that's where that community, like if you can be super honest and super authentic with your own community that you're building, that's when you're going to see the success.
Yeah.
Right. That's
So
when
true.
the things are going to feel aligned, and you don't want to build a business that's not aligned with your own self and your own authenticity.
So good. So on the topic of permission, you are venturing into a whole new season. You even have a new hairstyle. And
do.
it's just a whole vibe.
I actually feel like a little bit like Dick Tracy today. I feel like I need
working.
like a hat.
No, it's working. It's like a sexy Dick Tracy if it is. And if you guys aren't watching
Perfect.
the YouTube version of this, you're going to have to now go see for yourself. But I know firsthand how much every new level that I'm stepping into requires me to give myself permission in a new way.
Mm-hmm.
So what is this current level of Coley demanding you to give yourself permission to do?
Show up.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just showing up.
Yeah.
And not caring what anyone thinks.
Continuing to not care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think there's so many layers to that, right? Because you say it's like, that's not a one-time shed. That's a multiple skin sheds, right?
Just finding more onion layers.
Oh yeah, totally. So many onion layers. But I think just being so confident in what I can bring and who I am, and knowing and being okay that not everyone's going to love this version of me, the real me, has given me so much permission to just show up and honestly not give a shit. Like I give a shit on my mission. I care so deeply about my mission. Yeah. And if I can focus on that, that's all that matters.
It's just so good. It's so much, there's so much work to get to this point. But if anyone listening to this is hearing and feeling the energy that you embody, I just want to encourage them that both of us had a former version that couldn't speak from this grounded place about just knowing who we are and what is authentic. Yeah. So you spoke a little bit about what's next for Foundress, the membership, your podcast, your personal brand. Where can people find you? Where can they connect with you? Where can they learn about how to plug in? Because even if they're not based in Phoenix, you have virtual options and you have other ways to interact. So where's the best place for people to find you and to connect?
Yeah.
And tell us about the podcast too.
So best way to find us is on Instagram or our newsletters. So you can sign up for our newsletters through our website. Our new one will be launching soon. Don't judge our old one. And yes, this podcast is a new adventure. I felt like I was hiding behind my brand for so long, and I was wanting to be a puppet for Foundress. And that's kind of felt really good until I started doing all this layer shedding and really stepping into my own power and my own passion, really. And I knew that I needed to have a personal brand. I've resisted it forever. I've kind of dabbed in like posting on my social, but right now it's all football content. I'm a football mom, which you'll still see a lot of. Don't worry, because that's most of my time. But really, I think having that permission to have a podcast that is my own voice and not necessarily through my brand gives me just a space where I can be me. And so we're going to be talking about everything that goes into being a female business owner, a mom, a wife, a psycho business owner, all the crazies, and just have these conversations that are just real. That's my goal. I'm going to have my husband on, and he's going to probably share a lot of shit about me that I'm going to have to shut up and listen to. But it's going to be fun. And I want it to feel like we're just best friends in a living room hanging out together. And I'm excited.
Kind of like this.
I'm kind of like this.
Kind of like
this is my favorite.
being friends in a living room.
I love it.
I'm so excited for this next chapter for you.
Thank you.
I know that so many people are going to gain just so much from your wisdom, yes, but the authenticity that you brought here today, the authenticity that you bring to your community. And I feel like the one thing that I didn't get to ask about yet that I will get DMs if I don't go here, because you are a mom of 4 boys and your kids actually have a beautiful range to their ages too. You have one that's about to leave the nest, and then your youngest is
6.
Okay, I was going to go with like 4.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit
better,
close, closer in age. But you also are a mom first and foremost. And there's so many women, when we go back to that theme that we've carried throughout of permission, that are comparing their business journey to someone whose life day to day looks so different. Maybe they don't have kids, or maybe their kids are at different stages. What words of advice do you have to women who are struggling with that, with seeing the momentum other people seem to be having, but not comparing the actual day-to-day life of that person with their own?
It's such a good question. Actually, I just recorded a podcast with my best friend about this, and she is a successful photographer. And I kept hearing her say, like, I should be making more money. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. And I sat down with her and I said, what does your day look like? Like, what does your day look like? And we ended up kind of doing the math backwards. And I was like, I think you work 12 hours a week and you make this much money. I was like, that is so much money, right? But it's relative, right? The full pot wasn't as much as she thought she quote unquote should be making. But she had 2 young kids at home, and her day, she worked like 2 to 4 hours a day. Yeah. And so I said, the fact that you're making this much money, if you times that by a normal 40-hour-a-week work, you'd be making this much money. Yeah. And she was like, oh my God, I never thought about that. And I think we so often compare each other, but not with the whole story. And the fact that if you're aligning your values with your mission and your work, it's going to look so different. So again, for next year is going to be even different for me, right? Going into this chapter of my son's going into a senior year. I will be at every single game. I will be at every single event. May, I'm literally not going to work at all in May, because that's graduations and lasts of everything. And so I'm going into this year going, this might look different, and not comparing myself to someone who's maybe working 60-hour weeks because they can or they want to. And so I really think that we have to look at the whole picture. We have to look at our values. We have to look at our goals and our alignment, and then through the lens of, how much do I want to make, or what do I want my life to look like? And then if I'm making this much money, does that feel good? But we can't go, how much money do you make? And then be disappointed when it's not the same number as someone else. Right. And so I think it's so important as a mom. I want my boys to see me chasing my dreams. I want them to see me working hard and going, I know that if I have something I really want to do, that I can do it because I watched my mom do it. And I want to be present. And so I'm choosing to maybe going a little bit slower than someone else, maybe that's doing something similar, or it's going to look different than someone else. And that's okay, because I know that I'm going through, the lens of, I want to be a present mom. There's no such thing as balance. So there's constantly days where I'm like, oh, I should be working more, or I should be with my kids. We do a lot of iPad time. It's okay. They will survive. Right. But it's just balancing every single day with, what do I want this to look like at the end? And then how do I work backwards to get there?
That's so simple, but so powerful. Are you good at pausing to celebrate yourself?
No, I'm awful.
Great. We're going to do it right now.
Great. My business coach works with me every day. She's like, what's one good thing? I'm like, I have 20 bad things. Can we talk about this first?
Can I give you this list first?
Can I give you this list first?
So we end every guest interview with an opportunity for the guest to acknowledge themselves. But in doing so, it also gives everyone listening a reminder to pause and do this for themselves too. So we just call it a powerhouse moment.
Love it.
It can be anything big or small. But when I ask, what's a recent powerhouse moment that you want to pause right now and acknowledge yourself for, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Okay, I have a really good story, actually. So I was working with my business coach, and I was really struggling. So like you mentioned before, we do have a virtual membership, and it's always been on the back burner. I don't advertise it. And so we had this big launch. We had a really good turnout, and then I've literally not said a word about it since then. And I've been getting frustrated at my own self for not like putting what I quote unquote thought I should be putting into it. Yeah. And so I was working with my business coach, and she said, it's like, you have to celebrate the fact that you are doing the work and giving your heart to the people that you want to serve. And so we did this big exercise of like, do you even like virtual? Do we want to do it? Is it, and I went in going, I think I shouldn't do it. And I think I should just focus on one thing because everyone else tells me I should just do one thing. And we went through this exercise of exactly what I just said about going through my values and what my mission is in life. And it gave me this really beautiful picture. And I was kind of like, oh, I'm kind of proud of myself. Like, even though it doesn't quite look exactly the way I want it to yet, I have this like mission, and it almost like took my breath away when she repeated it back to me of like, oh, that's so powerful. Like, my mission is that every single woman who has a business has support and a community behind her, because I know so desperately what it's done in my life, and I've seen other women and what it's done for theirs. And so this mission that I have, it almost like, I think when she repeated it back to me, I was like, oh, fuck yeah, that's amazing. Right. And we never get to stop and do that because we're constantly looking for more or comparing ourselves or thinking we should be doing more. And so it was just a really fun moment of like, oh, my mission is really beautiful and I'm really proud of it. And just, I don't know, it was just a sweet, sweet moment of a reminder of like my why.
Yeah. Which I love that parallels that same moment you had with your friend where you had her pause and look at not just the correlation. Are you living your values?
Right.
But are you being too hard on yourself without also taking into consideration everything else in life that you're managing?
Right. Well, and you know this, like, it's so much easier to tell everyone else and see it in other people.
Absolutely.
Then when you have to look at yourself, you're like, oh, there's some ugly things in there. I don't want to look at that,
That's half the reason to mentor others, because you hear yourself saying something to your clients and then you're like, and this is also for me.
Oh my gosh. I was totally doing that in my one-on-one session the other day. And I was like saying something out loud. And as I'm taking notes of my own words, I'm like, reminder, do exactly what I'm telling her to do. It's so much easier. But that's why community is so important. I think back to even our very first conversation, it's like that community around you to look at you and not just call you out and hold you accountable, but to celebrate.
Yeah.
And if we're not celebrating ourselves, we miss it.
What are we doing?
Yeah. Why are we here?
Why are we here? Well,
someone tell me I'm freaking awesome, right?
And you are.
Thanks. So,
I mean, you really are. And it's just been so much fun to grow our communities alongside one another, but also just to have the support and the friendship to know that, there's these moments where I still have no idea what I'm doing. I'm figuring things out as I go, but I never feel alone because we've taken the time to cultivate the community around us. And for anyone listening who, has had that thought, oh, it's so awesome in Phoenix. We see that the female entrepreneur community is alive and well. It wasn't 6 or 7 years ago when we were both first starting it. It just took someone to say, okay, I'm looking for this. Selfishly, I want this.
Right.
And it doesn't exist. So I guess maybe I'm the one to be a part of starting exactly what other women are also looking for.
Right. Or you could fly to Powerhouse Women in August.
You could also do that. That'll be fun.
Or you could join our virtual. I mean, there's lots of options for you.
So many options. Thank you so much.
You will not be without community.
No,
we won't let you.
We will aggressively make sure that you're supported.
We will hold you accountable.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me. I loved our conversation.
Now let's take our bras off.
Okay, great. Can't wait.